Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. I have one of the most important charts that I'm going to be breaking down for you guys today. I want to teach you guys how to make the most money possible inside of this market cycle. I'm going to be teaching you guys something that's personally made me the most money going into the last cycle, even going into the first bull run that I was ever a part of in 2016 and 17. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys all of the same strategies that help make me a millionaire, and I'm going to break it down so everybody can understand it simply. Thank you all so much for the support of this channel. It means the world to me. Seeing the market breaking out finally gives me a lot of confidence that everybody who watches this channel are all about to make a lot of money too. With that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, here we are to jump into today's analysis. This is the chart that I wanted to share with you because I feel like people are going to be able to make more money doing this than anything else. It's one of the more simple things to understand in the market, but once you understand it, it's really going to help you guys make a lot of money. Now, when we're talking about the Wall Street cheat sheet, what it's identifying is the emotions inside of a market cycle, the average emotions that an investor is going to feel. And this is why it becomes so hard to make money inside of a long-term market cycle, because people are positioned on the wrong side of the market. Now, when we're looking at this is identifying the emotions and what the average person is feeling. And when we're in the bull cycle, at the top of the bull cycle, we're experiencing delusional emotions. It works both ways, both on the high ends of the bull cycle and on the low ends of the bear market. What we see here is basically the last three emotions you see at the top of the cycle and how they fit into what we saw in the last bull run. We have belief, time to get fully invested; thrill, I will buy more on margin. Got to tell everybody to buy. This is where people get really excited. And then we have euphoria. I am a genius. We're all going to be rich. This is where everybody's making money. It doesn't matter what you buy. Everything's going up. Everybody's being rewarded no matter how many bad habits you have. And that's what we're accustomed to seeing at every single cycle top. Now, initially we get the bear market decline, and this sets in complacency. What we're going to end up seeing is people get complacent with emotions, and this is where people trap themselves into holding long-term, not taking profits, and then they end up losing all of that and giving it back into the market. Complacency. We just need to cool off for the next rally. That's kind of what we saw here at this first lower high at 48,500. Then we start to see us making a lower low. People start to freak out a little bit. Anxiety. Why am I getting margin calls? This dip is taking longer than expected. Denial. My investments are with great companies. They will come back. And this is where you start to see the trick of the emotions, where you see the market dropping, but you can still convince yourself to continue to hold regardless of what is basically breaking down inside of the market. And that's where we get into this sort of events. Panic. Shit, everyone is selling. I need to get out. Capitulation. I am getting 100% out of the markets. I can't afford to lose more. And that's basically what we ended up seeing during the June capitulation, where Terra Luna went bankrupt, where Celsius went bankrupt, where we had all of these different lenders and stuff going bankrupt in our last bull market. And then that leads us to anger. And that was our long-term consolidation that we saw. We got to keep in mind that this is the altcoins, and they never made a lower low when the FTX collapse happened. So we went through this entire period on the way back down worth of accumulation, and that's pretty much the same thing that we see over in here, where we have this big capitulation that takes place right after that first lower high. And then the way that it accumulates on the way back down is actually very similar to what we're seeing today inside of crypto. The only difference is inside of depression, we ended up seeing a lower low, and you would actually be able to get that conclusion out of a lot of different altcoins. A lot of altcoins made a lower low going into this most recent dip that we went through. Certain ones ended up holding, like when we're talking about the total altcoin market cap, it made a higher high. So obviously it was a little bit different, but we still see the same emotions, and I do believe that that's where we're looking at right now, is this disbelief phase. Looking at the disbelief phase, this is where nobody really has any belief that we're going to make a big breakout, and that's what always happens right before we make that big breakout. Where we're at in the cycle, to me, points towards us coming back up to that top of the complacency wave, and I think that this really, I think that disbelief was in here also. It's not like we just entered disbelief, but when we're talking in terms of how the cycle looks emotionally and what we saw in a lot of different altcoins, a lot of altcoins did make lower lows throughout this period. So we see kind of a hybrid, right? Even though we made a higher high, some altcoins made lower lows. It's just that the total market cap itself is a little bit more of an accurate tool to be judging. And so now that we're in this disbelief phase, really disbelief was throughout this entire period. When we maintained a higher high and we really held support of like 500 billion in total market cap, to me that was really the confirmation that that's the true disbelief phase. And that's why I do think that we're going to end up seeing this move coming all the way back up to the top of that lower high. This is $1.2 trillion. So for ETH, that'd be $3,500. And understanding how this all works is the way that you're going to be able to make money. We understand that these are the emotions that we're going to experience when we're going through a market cycle. And understanding how each cycle is just some type of example of this pattern is where we're going to be able to understand not only how we can make money in the market, but how we're feeling inside of the market. If you're feeling any of these emotions, and you did feel any of these emotions, understand that that's the natural thing to do when we're going through an emotional market cycle. Crypto is the most emotional cycle that I think we've ever seen in the history of humanity. It's the most, emotional because it's undervalued. There's a lot of money flooding through this. It's a 24/7 market, and it's a global market at that. So there's just more opportunity for upside when we're looking at this. Now that we're finally kind of leaving this bear market bottom, I think that this sets in a much bigger move to the upside, and we're going to go through a brand new one of these where we see all of this new emotion coming in. Because if you guys notice here, disbelief happens on two different parts of this chart. And if you notice, disbelief is right here at the beginning of a brand new cycle. And that's exactly where we're at here, disbelief. If we're looking at where we've been at, this entire move here was probably disbelief. Now that we're leaving that, breaking out of the range highs, I believe the next move coming is going to be significant. We're going to see a lot more money coming into the markets, and that's where we're going to be setting in this sort of emotion. We're going to go through a brand new cycle. And you got to remember with crypto, we're just right below these all-time highs, pretty significantly below those all-time highs. This thing's going to go into a brand new all-time high, and we're going to see another massive bull run like we've played out in years past. So let's break down some of my favorite altcoins for you guys to wrap up this video and explain why I think that we're going to see so much more upside to come going forward from here. Next up on today's video is going to be Ethereum. Ethereum is showing so much support right now as we gain momentum, going closer and closer to the range highs of this move. One of the main reasons I love Ethereum is the fact that it maintained higher highs from that June capitulation, right? So when Bitcoin made a lower low after the FTX collapse, Ethereum never did, and we've been maintaining ascending support throughout that entire time. So we're looking at 500 days approximately from our bear market bottom to where we're sitting at today, 511 days worth of an uptrend. That is a significant milestone in my opinion. And now what we're looking at here is the final move to really break out of this range high. Once we can do that, I really think the ETH is going to heat up in a big way, and that's when we're going to see this next move running all the way up to the top of this lower high, right? We could see some more volatile corrections, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to map it out for you guys. Because we spent over 500 days in this accumulation, you got to expect that the next move coming is going to actually come all the way up to this lower high. To me, that makes the most sense. For that would be the perfect setup, considering this is almost 2 years worth of accumulation, worth of sideways price action that we've been seeing in here. And so looking at the next move coming, I do think that it's going to catch people off guard. Everybody's going to be surprised once it actually happens. And that's kind of the emotions that we're expecting to see inside of this disbelief phase, right? This entire move has been disbelief. Nobody really believes that the next cycle is starting. We went through all of this turmoil in the bear market, the FTX collapse, all of the lenders going bankrupt. And then once we actually make a new higher high to start the bull cycle, that's really where everybody was, nope, we're not going to have a new cycle. This thing is over. Have you heard about so-and-so that says we're going to 9K? That's who I'm following. And that's really what we saw a lot of, and at least what I saw a lot of happening inside of the comment section on YouTube, happening in the comments on Twitter, seeing how people were talking on Twitter. And that's what you're going to notice the most with these charts is the fact that once we're able to identify the emotions, we're able to see how other people are reacting. When you get on Twitter and you see all of these people sharing how much money they're making, chances are you're probably going to be looking at some type of significant top or a sell-off coming. And that's going to be the same with you. If you catch yourself constantly refreshing, your CoinGecko or your whatever that tracks your portfolio balance, if you constantly sit there and keep refreshing, that shows that you're inside of this sort of emotional cycle. It's all a long-term game for me. And it's good to feel those things. Like, it's not a bad thing. We're all going to feel this on the way up. But it's identifying when things are getting getting a little bit too crazy so that we know when to take profits long term. Being able to catch yourself inside of your own emotional psychology is really where we're going to be able to develop ourselves as long-term investors and seasoned investors to earn profitable returns, because it's not easy. It's getting stuck in these emotions is one of the hardest things to process because of the fact, it's just the natural thing that emotions want to take control. Humans are driven by emotions. So when we're talking in terms of investing, people are throwing their money around because of emotion. And so don't be one of these people. Understanding your own emotions is the best way to make money, because that's where we're going to be able to think logically and make sound decisions. Now that we're leaving the bear market bottom, things are going to start getting crazy. Now that ETH is nearing a breakout of the range highs, the next move coming is going to see a lot of new price discovery in altcoins. We're already seeing a lot of altcoins breaking out here. Solana leading the way so far, and this is something we talked a lot about, all throughout this accumulation, understanding that Solana and Ethereum actually follow each other very closely. We looked a lot at this comparison going all the way into their first cycles. Ethereum's first cycle looks pretty much identical in its blow off top. And then we see the same thing in Solana. The lower high going into the bear market bottom is the exact same sort of setup. And then the only difference here is the fact that the capitulation was a lot more volatile inside of Solana because the FTX collapsed. But we only spent about 315 days inside of this first higher high before we're breaking out. And so comparing the two, ETH kind of just went sideways in here for like 500 days. From peak low to peak low was almost exactly 500 days. So when we're comparing the two, there's a little bit of a difference. But going into this next cycle, we have to understand that it's not just going to 100% follow ETH. But we knew that ETH did this, right? ETH went into a brand new cycle, and that was during a pandemic. So looking at Solana, if it doesn't have all of that going against it, I really believe that this is going to continue to do well long term. And it's hard to say where it's going to go. I mean, it could run all the way to the top of this lower high, being $144. Don't be surprised if ETH is going to do that, because to me, ETH is going to do that in the next move. I feel like it really is going to do that type of a breakout and have that significant of an increase in price. When we're looking at Solana, it's already done a significant increase in price. It's already flipped all of the prior resistance levels, right? This was the main level that we had to get above. We consolidated below it throughout this entire time, almost a year. So for us to make this breakout to the upside, chances are we're going to end up flipping this as new support before we trend even higher. Who knows where the exact peak of that is? It could be $90 to $100. It could be all the way to the top of this lower high. To me, this one's going to do well long term, and so seeing it already breaking out like this should be an early sign that ETH hasn't even broken out of the range highs yet. So if it's already doing that and ETH hasn't broke out yet, can you imagine what the rest of the market is going to do once ETH actually starts making that move? We're seeing more coins than that doing it too. Chainlink was the other example that we've talked a lot about, considering the fact it had one of the more obvious bear market bottoms that I've ever seen. Now, looking at this thing, it went sideways here for 520 days before any significant sort of breakout. We were watching it because we knew that right here was a one-wave impulse, and we knew that we were going to be starting some type of three-wave. So far, with us already breaking out this high, I do think that it's possible we come all the way back up, like I talked about, to $18, seeing some type of correction back down to maybe 12 and a half. But big picture, I still think that this one's got plenty more upside as well. And when we're looking at this, we could actually see this thing end up topping somewhere around the top of this lower high as well. I think the very best altcoins are going to do that. Some of the ones that aren't going to perform as well, the ones that are going to lag, they won't make as significant of breakouts, and that's just going to continue to be the case throughout the majority of the next cycle. The ones that we're already seeing breaking out and leading the way, being Solana, being Chainlink, these are ones that are going to end up following closer to Ethereum and how it performs. If ETH is going to be going all the way up to the top of this lower high, I feel like we're most likely going to end up seeing a few different altcoins do the same thing. And with Solana being more related to Ethereum than any of them and looking the most like it, I think that it will just end up following if ETH goes to that same level. Chainlink, we're kind of looking at the same thing. So far, they're both off about the same percentage off of the low. So not the exact bear market low, but when we're talking about like the average of this consolidation, so far Solana's up about 2x, and Chainlink is up about 165%. So far, Chainlink's just a little bit behind Solana as far as price return that you're getting, but that's to be understood because of the fact, we had a much deeper correction for Solana on the way down, so the upside would be higher. Now, when we're seeing all of this, guys, to me, it's an early sign. Once ETH actually clears this resistance and makes its next move, that's where we're going to end up seeing all of the other laggards take off. We're going to end up seeing all of the other networks take off. I've talked a lot about Arbitrum. I think that Arbitrum is going to benefit mightily once ETH actually gets above these range highs, because that's where we're going to see all the new money coming back in the cycle. I think that we've pretty much left this disbelief phase, and we've kind of been in the disbelief phase for the last few months. Now comes the significant portion of the cycle where we're going to go through a brand new sort of bull run and a new set of bullish emotions. We got to remember to check ourselves. Understanding how this stuff works and the psychology of market cycles, in my opinion, is going to make us the most money possible. It's made me the most money inside of my own trading plan, and once I understood this, it kind of gave me the epiphany of how to make money inside of the market cycles of crypto, because crypto are the most emotional. They follow this to a T so much of the time. You're going to see a lot of altcoins that actually even follow this exact setup even more perfect, where they made a lower low over here, exactly as this chart shows. And if you guys go and identify it in the market, share it with me on Twitter, share it with me on Discord, share it wherever, teach other people, because I'm telling you, this is the way you make money inside of the markets. There's more to it than just this, but to me, this is the most important thing that helped me make the most money as a beginner investor in crypto. Anyways, guys, if you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these updates. If you guys want to join the Discord server, if you guys want to end up seeing how I'm investing long-term over the course of this cycle and future cycles, whether that be stocks, whether that be crypto, whether that be commodities, something else. I'm looking into a lot of different sectors because big picture, all I plan on doing is investing. That's all I ever know. So if you guys want to be able to see how I'm doing it, you guys can actually sign up on my website. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. So you guys are always going to be able to know what I'm investing in. As long as I'm running this, which to me, even if I don't do YouTube, I'll still have the group because I want to be able to do that long term. I'm always going to be investing. So if you guys want to be able to see that, check it out. Links are in the description. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.